Hello everyone, welcome back to Elisa Marie Designs. I am Elisa Maria. Welcome back if you are back. Welcome if you are new. We are getting ready to complete part 2 of chapter 10 of Jaws. Now when this chapter ends, we'll do the commentary. We didn't do it for chapter 1. But when this chapter ends, chapter 11 begins with part 3 of the book. I might be diamond painting. I might be doing just some note taking. I don't know, but I'm so excited to get to this chapter. I didn't want to leave you all with a cliffhanger. So, I don't want to say anything. But anyway, I'm going to turn this over to John, but let me just show you what I will be doing as I sit here. This is where we are on our little art dot. Bunny. Here he is. Oh, he's coming out so cute. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over to Johnny. 1 second.
Brody saw his walkie-talkie wallowing in the wave wash. He retrieved it, wiped it free of water, pushed the talk button, and said, "Leonard, can you hear me?" "I read you, Chief. Over. The fish has been here. If you got anybody in the water down there, get them out right away. And stay there till we get relief for you. Nobody goes near the water. The beach is officially closed." "Okay, Chief. Was anybody hurt? Over." "No, thank God. But almost." "Okay, Chief. Over and out." As Brody walked back to where he had left his beach bag, Middleton called to him. "Hey, Chief, can we do that interview now?" Brody stopped, tempted to tell Middleton to go fuck himself. Instead, he said, "What do you want to know? You saw it as well as I did. Just a couple questions." Brody sighed and returned to where Middleton stood with his camera crew. "All right," he said, "go ahead." "How much have you got left on your roll, Walter?" asked Middleton. "About 50 feet, so make it brief." "Okay, give me speed." "Speed. Well, Chief Brody, that was a lucky break, wouldn't you say?" "It was very lucky. The boy might have died." "Would you say that's the same shark that killed the people?" "I don't know," said Brody. "I guess it must be." "So where do you go from here?" "The beaches are closed for the time being. That's all I can do." "I guess you have to say that it isn't yet safe to swim here in Amity." "I'd have to say that. Yes, that's right." "What does that mean for Amity?" "Trouble, Mr. Middleton. We are in big trouble." "In retrospect, Chief, how do you feel about having opened the beaches today?" "How do I feel? What kind of question is that? Angry? Annoyed? Confused? Thankful that nobody got hurt? Is that enough?" "That's just fine, Chief," Middleton said with a smile. "Thank you, Chief Brody." He paused and then said, "Okay, Walter, that'll wrap it. Let's get home and start editing this mess." "What about a close?" said the cameraman. "I got about 25 feet left." "Okay," said Middleton. "Wait till I think of something profound to say." Brody, blah, 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 blah. Brody, blah, blah. Brody gathered up his towel and his beach bag and walked over the dune toward his car. When he got to Scotch Road, he saw the family from Queens standing beside their camper. "Was that the shark that killed people?" "Who knows," said Brody. "What's the difference?" "Didn't look like much to me. Just a fin. The boys were kind of disappointed." "Listen, you jerk," Brody said. "A boy almost got killed just now. Are you disappointed that that didn't happen? Don't give me that, said the man. That thing wasn't even close to him. I bet the whole thing was a put-on for them TV guys. Mister, get out of here. You and your whole goddamn brood. Get him out of here, now. Brody waited while the man loaded his family and their gear into the camper. As he walked away, he heard the man say to his wife, I figured all the people here would be snot noses. I was right, even the cops. At 6 o'clock, Brody sat in his office with Hooper and Meadows. He had already talked to Larry Vaughn, who called, drunk and in tears, and muttered wildly about the ruination of his life. The buzzer on Brody's desk rang, and he picked up the phone. Fellow named Bill Whitman to see you, Chief, said Bixby. Says he's from the New York Times. Okay, what the hell? Just send him in. The door opened, and Whitman stood in the doorway. He said, am I interrupting something? Nothing much, said Brody. Come on in. You remember Harry Meadows? And this is Matt Hooper from Woods Hole. I remember Harry Meadows all right, said Whitman. It was thanks to him that I got my ass chewed from one end of 43rd Street to the other by my boss. Why was that? Said Brody. Mr. Meadows conveniently forgot to tell about the attack on Christine Watkins, but he didn't forget to tell his readers. Must have slipped my mind, said Meadows. What can we do for you? Brody said. I was wondering, said Whitman, if you're sure this is the same fish that killed the others. Brody gestured toward Hooper, who said, I can't be positive. I never saw the fish that killed the others, and I really didn't get a look at the one today. All I saw was a flash, sort of silvery gray. I know what it was, but I couldn't compare it to anything else. All I have to go on is probability, and in all probability, it is the same fish. It's too far-fetched for me, anyway, to believe that there are two big man-eating sharks off southern Long Island at the same time. Whitman said to Brody, what are you going to do, Chief? I mean, beyond closing the beaches, which I gather has already been done. I don't know. What can we do? Christ, I'd rather have a hurricane or even an earthquake. At least after they happen, they're over and they're done with. You can look around, see what's been done, what has to be done. They're events, something you can handle. They're beginnings and ends. It's just crazy. It's as if there was a maniac running around loose, killing people whenever he felt like it. You know who he is, but you can't catch him, and you can't stop him. And what makes it worse, you don't know why he's doing it. Meadows said, remember Minnie Eldridge? Yeah, said Brody. I'm beginning to think she may have something after all. Who's that? Said Whitman. Nobody, just some nut. For a moment there was silence, an exhausted silence, as if everything that needed to be said had been said. Then Whitman said, Well, what? Said Brody. There must be some place to go from here. Something to do. I'd be happy to hear any suggestions. Personally, I think we're fucked. We're going to be lucky if there's a town left after this summer. Wasn't that a bit of an exaggeration? I don't think so. Do you, Harry? Not really, said Meadows. The town survives on its summer people, Mr. Whitman. Call it parasitic, if you will. but that's the way it is. The host animal comes every summer, and Amity feeds on it furiously, pulling every bit of sustenance it can before the host leaves again after Labor Day. Take away the host animal, and we're like dog ticks with no dog to feed on. We starve. At least, the very least, next winter is going to be the worst in the history of this town. We're going to have so many people on welfare that Amity will look like Harlem. He chuckled. Yeah, Harlem by the sea. What I'd give my ass to know, said Brody, is why? Why Amity? Why not East Hampton or Southampton or Quogue? That, said Hooper, is something we'll never know. Why? Said Whitman. I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses for misjudging that fish, said Hooper. But the line between the natural and the preternatural is very cloudy. Natural things occur, and for most of them, there's a logical explanation. But for a whole lot of things, there's just no good or sensible answer. Say two people are swimming, one in front of the other, and a shark comes up from behind, and he passes right beside the guy in the rear and attacks the guy in the front. Why? Maybe they smelled different. Maybe the one in the front was swimming in a more provocative way. Say the guy in the back, the one who wasn't attacked, goes to help the one who was attacked. The shark may not touch him, may actually avoid him while he keeps banging away at the guy he did hit. White sharks are supposed to prefer colder water. So why does one turn up off the coast of Mexico, strangled by a human corpse that he couldn't quite swallow? In a way, sharks are like tornadoes. They touch down here, but not there. They wipe out this house, but suddenly veer away and miss the house next door. The guy in the house that's wiped out says, "Why me?" But the guy in the house next to him that got missed says, "Thank God." All right, said Whitman. But what I still don't get is why the shark can't be caught. Well, maybe it can be, said Hooper. But I don't think by us. At least not with the equipment we have here. I suppose we could try chumming again. Yeah, said Brody. Ben Gardner could tell us all about chumming. Do you know anything about some fellow named Quint? Said Whitman. I've heard the name, Brody said. Did you ever look into that guy, Harry? I read what little there was. As far as I know, he's never done anything illegal. Well, Brody said, maybe it's worth a call. You're joking, said Hooper. You really do business with this guy? I'll tell you what, Hooper. At this point, if someone came in here and said he was Superman and he could piss that shark away from here, I'd say fine and dandy. I'd even hold his dick for him. Yeah, but, Brody cut him off. What do you say, Harry? You think he's in the phone book? You really are serious, said Hooper. You bet your sweet ass. You got any better ideas? No, it's just, I don't know. How do we know the guy isn't a phony or drunk or something? We'll never know till we try. Brody took a phone book from the top drawer of his desk and opened it to the cues. He ran his finger down the page. Here it is. Quint. That's all it says. No first name. But it's the only one on the page. Must be him. He dialed the number. Quint, said a voice. Mr. Quint, this is Martin Brody. I'm the chief of police over in Amity. We have a problem. I've heard. The shark was around again today. Anybody get it? No, but one boy almost did. Fish that big needs a lot of food, said Quint. Have you seen the fish? Nope. Looked for him a couple of times, but couldn't spend too much time looking. My people don't spend their money for looking. They want action. How do you know how big it is? I hear tell, sort of averaged out the estimates and took off about 8 feet. That's still a big piece of fish you got there. I know. What I'm wondering is whether you can help us. I know, I thought you might call. Well, can you? That depends. On what? Well, how much you're willing to spend, for one thing. We'll pay whatever the going rate is. Whatever you charge by the day. We'll pay you by the day until we kill the thing. I don't think so, said Quint. I think this is a premium job. What does that mean? My everyday rate's $200 a day. But this is special. I think you'll pay double. Not a chance. Goodbye. Wait a minute, come on, man. Why are you holding me up? You got no place else to go. There are the fishermen. Brody heard Quint laugh, a short, derisive bark. Sure there are, said Quint. You already sent one. Send another one. Send half a dozen more. Then when you come back to me again, maybe you'll even pay triple. I got nothing to lose by waiting. I'm not asking for any favors, Brody said. I know you got a living to make, but this fish is killing people. I want to stop it. I want to save lives. I want your help. Can't you at least treat me the way you treat regular clients? You're breaking my heart, said Quint. You got a fish needs killing. I'll try to kill it for you. No guarantees, but I'll do my best. And my best is worth $400 a day. Brody sighed. I don't know that the selectmen will give me the money. You'll find it somewhere. How long do you think it'll take to catch this fish? Day, a week, a month? Who knows? We may never find him. He may just go away. Don't I wish, said Brody. He paused. Okay, he said finally. I guess we don't have any other choice. No, you don't. Can you start tomorrow? Nope. Monday's the earliest. I got a party tomorrow. Party? What do you mean? A dinner party? Quint laughed again. Same piercing bark. A charter party. You don't do much fishing. Brody blushed. No, that's right. Can't you cancel them? If we're paying all that money, it seems to me we deserve a little special service. Nope. They're regular customers. I couldn't do that to them, or I'd lose their business. You're just a one-shot deal. Suppose you run into the big fish tomorrow. Will you try to catch him? Well, that would save you a lot of money, wouldn't it? We won't see your fish. We're going due east. Terrific fishing due east. You ought to try it sometime. You had it all figured out, right? There's one more thing, said Quint. I'm going to need a man with me. I lost my mate. I wouldn't feel comfortable taking on that big a fish without an extra pair of hands. Lost your mate? What? Overboard? No, he quit. He got nerves. Happens to most people after a while in this work. They get to thinking too much. But it doesn't happen to you? No. I know I'm smarter than the fish. And that's enough, just being smarter? Has been so far. I'm still alive. What about it? You got a man for me? You can't find another mate? Not this quick, and not for that kind of work. Who are you going to use tomorrow? Some kid. But I won't take him out after a big white. Well, I can understand that, Brody said, beginning to doubt the wisdom of approaching Quint for help. He added casually, I'll be there, you know. He was shocked by the words as soon as he said them, appalled at what he had committed himself to do. You? Ha! Brody smarted under Quint's derision. I can handle myself. Maybe. I don't know you. But you can't handle a big fish if you don't know nothing about fishing. Can you swim? Of course. What does that got to do with anything? People fall overboard, and sometimes it takes a while to swing around and get them. Don't worry about me. Whatever you say, but I still need a man who knows something about fishing, or at least about boats. Brody looked across his desk at Hooper. The last thing Brody wanted was to spend days on a boat with Hooper, especially in a situation in which Hooper would outrank him, at least in knowledge, if not a thought. Could send Hooper alone and stay sure of himself. But that, he felt, would be capitulating. Admitting, finally and irrevocably, his inability to face and conquer the strange enemy that was waging war on his own town. Besides, maybe over the course of a long day on a boat, Hooper might make a slip that would reveal what he had been doing last Wednesday, the day it rained. Brody was becoming obsessed with finding out where Hooper was that day. For whenever he allowed himself to consider the various alternatives, the one on which his mind always settled was the one he most dreaded. He wanted to know that Hooper was at the movies, or playing backgammon at the field club, or smoking dope with some hippie, or laying some Girl Scout. He didn't care what it was, as long as he could know that Hooper had not been with Ellen, or that he had been. In that case, the thought was still too wretched to cope with. He cupped his hands over the mouthpiece and said to Hooper, "Do you want to come along? He needs a mate." Doesn't even have a mate? What a half-assed operation. Never mind that. Do you want to come or not? Yes, said Hooper. I'll probably live to regret it, but yes, I want to see that fish. And I guess this is probably going to be my only chance. Brody said to Quint, "Okay, I've got your man. Does he know boats?" He knows boats. Monday morning, 6 o'clock. Bring whatever you want to eat. You know how to get there? Route 27 to the turnoff for Promised Land, right? Yeah. It's called Cranberry Hole Road, straight into town. About 100 yards past the last houses, take a left on the dirt road. Is there a sign? No, but it's the only road around here, and it leads right to my dock. Yours the only boat there? Only one. It's called the Orca. All right. We'll see you Monday. One more thing, said Quint. Cash, every day, in advance. Okay, but how come? That's the way I do business. I don't want you falling overboard with my money. All right, said Brody, you'll have it. He hung up and said to Hooper, Monday, 6 a.m., okay? Okay. Meadows said, "Do I gather from your conversation that you're going to go too, Martin?" Brody nodded. "It's my job. I'd say it's a bit beyond the call." "Well, it's done now." "What's the name of his boat?" asked Hooper. "I think he said Orca," said Brody. "I don't know what it means." "It doesn't mean anything. It is something. It's a killer whale." Meadows, Hooper, and Whitman rose to go. "Good luck," said Whitman. "Kind of envy you your trip. It should be exciting." "I could do without excitement," Brody said. "I just want to get the damn thing over with." At the door, Hooper turned around and said, "Thinking of Orca reminds me of something. You know what Australians call great white sharks?" "No," said Brody, not really interested. "What?" "White death." "You had to tell me, didn't you?" Brody said as he closed the door behind him. He was on his way out when the night desk man stopped him and said, "You had a call before, Chief, while you were inside. I didn't think I should bother you." "Well, who was it?" "Mrs. Vaughn." "Mrs. Vaughn?" As far as Brody could remember, he had never in his life talked to Eleanor Vaughn on the telephone. "She said not to disturb you, that it could wait." "Thanks, I better call her. She's so shy that if her house was burning down, she'd call the fire department and apologize for bothering them and ask if there was a chance they could stop by the next time they were in her neighborhood." As he walked back into his office, Brody recalled something Vaughn had told him about Eleanor. Whenever she wrote a check for an even dollar amount, she refused to write and 00/100th. She felt it would be an insult, as if she were suggesting that the person who cashed the check might try to steal a few cents. Brody dialed the Vaughn's home number, and Eleanor Vaughn answered before the phone had rung once. She'd been sitting right by the phone, Brody thought. "Martin Brody, Eleanor. You called?" "Oh, yes. I do hate to bother you, Martin. If you'd rather..." "No, it's perfectly okay. What's on your mind?" Well, the reason I'm calling you is that I know Larry talked with you earlier. I thought you might know if anything's wrong." Brody thought, she doesn't know anything. Not a thing. Well, I'm damned if I'm going to tell her. "Why? What do you mean?" "I don't know how to say this exactly, but, well, Larry doesn't drink much, you know. Very rarely, at least at home. And, well, this evening, when he came home, he didn't say anything. He just went to his study, and I think, at least, he drank almost a whole bottle of whiskey. He's asleep now, in a chair." "I wouldn't worry about it, Eleanor. He's probably got things on his mind. Oil tie went on now and again." "I know. It's only something is wrong. I can tell. He hasn't acted like himself for several days now. I thought that perhaps you're his friend. Do you know what it could be?" His friend, Brody thought. That's what Vaughn had said too, but he had known better. "We used to be friends," he had said. "No, Eleanor, I don't," he lied. "I'll talk to him about it, though, if you like." "Would you, Martin?" "I'd appreciate that, but please, don't tell him I called you. He never want me meddling in his affairs." "I won't, don't worry. Try to get some sleep." "You think he'll be all right in the chair?" "Sure. Just take off his shoes and throw a blanket over him. He's fine." Paul Loeffler stood behind the counter at his delicatessen and looked at his watch. "It's 8:45, he said to his wife a plump, pretty woman named Rose, who was arranging boxes of butter in a refrigerator. What do you say we cheat and close up 15 minutes early? After a day like today, I agree, said Rose. 18 pounds of bologna. Since when have we ever moved 18 pounds of bologna in one day? And the Swiss cheese, said Loeffler. When did we ever run out of Swiss cheese before? A few more days like this I could use. Roast beef, liverwurst, everything. It's like everybody from Brooklyn Heights to East Hampton stopped by for sandwiches. Brooklyn Heights, my eye. Pennsylvania. One man said he had come all the way from Pennsylvania just to see a fish. What's the matter, they don't have fish in Pennsylvania? Who knows, said Loeffler. It's getting to be like Coney Island. The public beach must look like a dump. It's worth it. We deserve 1 or 2 good days. I heard the beaches are closed again, said Rose. Yeah, like I always say, when it rains, it pours. What are you talking about? I don't know. Let's close up. Chapter. And we're moving on to part 3 next.
Well, John is reclining back. He just said, I think that you should be on camera for the commentary. I'm like, well, I'll switch it back and forth. But we did like a little bit of a recap to try and remember.
It was a very traumatizing sort of chapter. It was a lot of.
Let me just start chapter 10, part 1 with the notes that I took.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if you've listened to part 1, if you've listened to this. Hooper is on patrol. Brody is hoping for bad weather. I remember writing that down. He's praying for anything to happen to get this beach closed,
or at least not visited. You know, he don't want people. His only real goal is that people don't go in the water to swim. So obviously, if it rains and it's a rainy day, nobody goes on the beach, let alone goes on the beach to swim. So
yeah. So Hooper's out in the water. Hendrix is at another part of the beach.
Hendrix is on the public beach, and Brody is on the Amity's private beach.
Right. And Hendrix is the one with the walkie-talkie saying over.
Over.
I can't.
It reminds me of Family Guy with Stewie and Brian. Over.
I can't. I love Brody. He's still my favorite because I just love that he is still asking, and how could he not? If another question of Hooper, did you and Daisy Wicker hit it off? And Hooper is just like,
yeah, but also
is this part of your job?
It's the reveal is done, and I forget who does it, but someone informs Hooper that Daisy Wicker is playing for the other team.
It's crazy in this neighborhood. Is it my son or the mailman opening
the
the door?
Mailman. I heard. Oh, it is both your son and the mailman. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm a little bit, startled because we had a break-in. My son's car got broken in the night before, and last night my neighbor right next door, her car got broken into. And here we go. Sit down for the commentary of Jules. Okay.
Foofy.
Okay, so Hooper is still, like, is this your job to keep checking in on my sex life? But I feel for Brody because he's got great instincts, and
let's not forget Brody.
He doesn't. There's a part of your brain that doesn't want to know if your significant other, your partner, is cheating on you. But he's got to deal with a man that he suspects.
But hold on,
has been with his wife.
That's
hard.
You have to think long and hard before you make that statement you just made, because it depends on the psychology of the person. And the person we're dealing with right now is a cop. Cops are naturally suspicious.
What did I just say? He's got great instincts.
Yeah.
He knows his wife didn't look right when he came home. She was missing, and he's got to deal with this guy that he knows probably was with his wife. That's got to be like a pain in the pit of your stomach. So he's on the dune. He's getting burnt. He's looking over Scotch Drive. Hooper is on the Flicka on the boat. there's very few beachgoers in the beginning of this chapter, and anybody that is on the beach is just wading in the water. They're not really going in.
No, wasn't there quite a bit of people on the public beach?
They were, but they weren't really.
Tickets.
They were just.
They weren't going in the water.
No, they were. That's what I just said. There were very few beachgoers at the beach. They were at the ocean's edge, no further. Tourists want to know where the fish is. They have kids. They want to see a shark. They drove all the way from Queens to have something to do because they heard about this shark. These are the people from Queens that I just want to feed. I want to call Hooper in, tell him to come and pick these tourists up, tell him that he's taking them to go see the shark, and then just throw them over.
We have a good word to describe those people.
I just did.
No, I'm saying I can't think of the word though. They're
so. They couldn't get any more annoying, I thought, until chapter 2.
They're like caffones, you know?
Yeah, they're gavons. They're gavons. I took my kids to come and see a shark and hopefully see somebody get eaten.
Right.
So yeah, Benny is whining. His little kid is whining. He wants to see a shark. They're Queensboro tourists from New York. Leonard is his name. So Hendrix is back on the walkie-talkie telling Brody that there's somebody
selling tickets for
$250
to go on the public beach, which doesn't cost anything.
To go on Shark Beach.
Yeah, doesn't cost anything to go on the public beach.
Yeah. So now he also tells him that news reporters were there, and he's like, "Did you get rid of them?" He's like, "Yeah, I sent them to you."
Yeah.
He sent them to Brody. I love Brody. I wrote that over walkie-talkie. So Hooper is on the stern of the Flicka, and he thinks that he's seeing something. Now, when you're out on the water, the reflection of the sun on the water, sometimes you think you see a shadow. He's probably thinking, is it a school of fish? Like, whatever. So by 2:30, the beach is almost empty except for some teenagers and the tourists from Queens. And the teenagers are saying, yeah, well, I'd like to see you go out there. Whoever wants to go out there, I'll give them $10. And so it is Jimmy Prescott that says, I'll do it, because like his father cut him off from his allowance. And let me tell you, right from there, I had such a lump in my throat. My heart, I can't even talk about it. My heart is pounding that this kid is going to go out. And they're telling him to go out
100 yards.
100 yards. And he's at like 60 yards, right?
100 yards is pretty far.
It's this kid, and
for
$10.
100 yards, I don't even know if you went 100 yards in Atlantic City or what. I mean, I don't even think you could go 100 yards.
That's you. Him, he's out in the water. He's not only out, he's drifting to the other side. And I see him drifting, and I'm chasing him, trying to call him in, that he's drifting to another pier.
I'm like Johnny Weissmuller. You're not
Oh my God. So WNBC arrives.
Yes,
Bob Middleton, Channel 4.
Bob Middleton is from the news station from New York.
And he wants to interview Brody about opening the beaches with a shark. But he overhears these kids telling this other kid.
Basically, it's a dare.
About this dare, and he's dropping in on it. And Bob Middleton called the boy in so that he could get the kids going in the water. And Brody says, "Listen, I'm going to play. I'm going to play cop here. Yeah. Do you want me to just tell them that, I'm restricting you to going in?" And the kid says, no, I'm going to go. I'm going to go in.
He needs the $10.
And he's got these Gavon tourists.
The Queens people.
And he's got these Spoustads, these other ones, these strappers from the
media.
The media.
And so they asked him, can you get the kid out of the water? Then you got to dry him off first, because nobody's been in the water all day.
Dry him off. Bring him back in, okay? It should tell you all you need to know about the media. So, Jimmy Prescott is interviewed before going in. The people from Queens are nuts. Hooper is coming in hot because he sees a shadow. And he sees Hooper coming in. They're on the walkie-talkie, and Brody is saying, he's calling Jimmy to come in because Hooper can't really say what he sees, but it's like the second time that he's seen a shadow. And so they're calling him in. And
Well,
Okay,
Hooper,
so Brody is calling for Jimmy to come in. Jimmy can't hear him. Hooper is coming in hot now with the boat,
but he can't come in all the way.
because he sees a shadow. And where is the shark? The shark is listening to the boat.
Yes.
That's the change the shark hears. So the shark notices the change in the boat's engine, and the knuckleheads from Queens are looking for the shark. They're calling for their kids to come. They're eavesdropping on this media and on what's going on. Brody's trying to do his job. Hooper's got his eyes on the water. All this is going on, and the cameraman is standing around. He's shoving a mic in Brody's face. They're reporting something is going on, but we don't know. It could be a shark. Did you see a shark? So after all this, and Brody calling this kid in, he grabs him and puts his arms around him and pulls him in. And I know, like you guys said in the messages, like you guys really ate the first part of part 1 of chapter 10 up, and you were like, my God, the panic, my pulse is racing. Thank God, Jimmy Prescott is saved.
It did seem that
Jimmy will never forget this day.
That Martin Brody barely pulled the kid out of the water. And again, don't forget, if that shark would have attacked, he could have attacked Brody or the kid, or who
this
knows?
kid is panicked. He must have been white as a sheet. He tells him, but did they try and interview this kid? Because he said, Brody said to him, "Are you okay?" And he said, "I want to go home." And I started to cry. He said, I want to go home.
They just staged him running into the water.
And but the one guy said, "What did you say? Can you repeat that?" And he's like, "Get out of here!" Like, you saw a fin pop out of the water. This kid, thank God, he's okay. And you want him to repeat what he said? And he brings him over to his friends and he says,
Get him home and give him his $10.
Give him his $10. Make sure you give him his $10. I would have framed that $10. Oh my God. So now we're on part 2. That's what happened. We're on part 2. So these are the notes that I took, because I was still, when John started reading, I didn't know what was going to happen. I'm following along with you guys. And I still have like this high tension from the beach scene. And thankfully Jimmy is safe, but he's traumatized. And Brody, once again, is being interviewed by Bob Middleton after Jimmy's near shark attack.
No, one person was I don't think that the anchor or the person interviewing, is that the same guy that...
Yeah, I wrote, Brody is interviewed by Bob Middleton after Jimmy's near shark attack. Like, how do you feel, Chief, about opening the beaches?
It is the same reporter.
With a shark in the water.
It is the same reporter.
This schmuck.
Go ahead.
So, one thing that we know is now the threat is undeniable. That was what I wrote. The threat is undeniable.
I think what we can safely conclude is the shark has not gone away.
It hasn't, but it's been quiet. And I really like that Brody is asking like these questions, like why Amity? And I like that whole explanation from Hooper. Why? Who can understand why a shark does what it does? It's like a tornado. One house is fine, the other house gets blown up.
That's why they made the movie Sharknado.
Shark what?
Sharknado.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They know what I'm talking about.
Sharknado. Okay. So I had some other questions that I did when I don't know how much anybody really knows now, because we're moving in real time. Like Bob Middleton, is he reporting this? So we really don't know the townspeople or whatever, or like I'm wondering where the mayor is. That was my thought. Like, where's the mayor now?
You have to remember too that we live in a 24-hour news cycle. This is 1974, 75, and they did not. So, like, the papers, the daily papers, the Sunday papers were big things. So, no, I don't want. And I'm saying, so the papers were the main source of information for people.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the news, but, people read the papers a lot, and that's where they got a lot of their information, so.
Yeah, everything is like, you think about it today, and everything is just like seconds.
Oh yeah,
now,
anything happens. You know, Facebook has it.
Yeah,
or-
immediately. Everybody's got a phone in their hand today. Everybody's a public news reporter. So for me, when all this is happening, and now you got Bob Middleton in his face, and he's saying, "Well, how do you feel about opening the beaches with like a shark?" And Brody, I don't want to say Brody's snapping or anything, but Brody, in my opinion,
Brody's patience is wearing thin.
going through so many. His instincts were right, like I just said in the beginning. His instincts were right. He must be feeling frustration, guilt, because that kid, he lived, but he's traumatized, and it could have been a hell of a lot worse.
We're right about Ellen and Hooper.
His instincts, it's still playing in his mind about even all this is going on, because aren't they back in the office now?
Yes.
And they're back in the office with Harry Meadows.
And then Middleton comes.
Whitman.
Harry Meadows. So Whitman was. Oh, Whitman is the guy from New York, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not the same guy.
So, and then Minnie Eldridge. I remember
Minnie
her.
Eldridge is the postmistress. She's 70-something years old, and she's claiming it's the Bible or whatever. Yeah.
Hey. I'm like, where do I know her with? And he's so obsessed still with Hooper. And he's asking these bigger questions like, why Amity? And he's talking about, the town, like this is it now. The summer's over. And we're going to have the welfare winter when winter comes. And who made the remark? Yeah, like welfare by the water.
Well, they did. So, just so you know, I occasionally change words, which I think are better or easier, or capture better what should be said. So they used the word dole there, but I changed it to welfare.
Okay, so. So they're now like, what are you going to do? And like this, it's this other array of emotions. This is something like Brody saying, like, I would rather have a hurricane or a tornado. We know what we're going to deal with. We know what's coming in. We know what might happen. We'll deal with the destruction. There's an aftermath. But with this, we don't know. A shark can brush by one person and go and kill the other one. The same thing like the tornado, that analogy. I really like that analogy because we've all seen it. A tornado comes through a town, one is standing, the other one is demolished. The person says, why me? The other person says, thank God. That was a beautiful analogy. I like the way that was written. And they're talking about, Hooper says, well, we can go out again and we could like chum the water. And he's thinking of Ben Gardner, like, yeah, chumming, that's not it. And so he turns around to, Whitman brings up Quint. And Hooper is objecting, but Brody is desperate at this point. So Brody calls Quint. Quint knows what is happening in Amity, and he knows he's got them. He's not seeing the fish, and he's not being paid to look either. So I had the thought also with Brody. Because there's so much emotional turmoil with him on a personal level, in his job, what he knows what is going on in the background with the mayor. And I'm thinking, is Brody going to become more aggressive or more passive? What do you think?
I think that Brody is on edge, and I think Brody is also the key. I would call him the protagonist of the whole story, because I think the story is based around Brody. Because as the man that he is, married man with 3 kids, and chief of police, meaning he's used to doing investigations and being suspicious of people. He's the perfect person to put in this pressure cooker with this shark, because again, as they explained in this chapter, it's like there's a maniac on the loose that's killing people whenever he wants, and we can't stop him.
We don't know what
and
we
can't, and
yeah,
so
it is. It's like a serial killer.
It is, and so I think that Brody is his life right now. His life was fine before this shark showed up.
Yeah.
And now the shark showed up, so did Hooper. Hooper's in his house invading him, but I think that
wants to take his
I
kids
think
to the
that
beach.
Hooper,
We're gonna take the beach, go look at seashells.
I think
Yeah,
that
okay.
Hooper, as the intruder in Brody's house, is actually tremendous storytelling, because I think it's a microcosm of the shark that's the intruder in Amity. Yeah.
Absolutely. Good point.
Yeah.
But do you think he's going to get more aggressive? Because we now have a mayor that is falling apart. You know, guess who called you? Eleanor Vaughn. And he's like, we get a good idea of how timid and passive Eleanor is. She's calling Brody because they're friends, and her husband doesn't drink, and he came home and he drank a whole bottle of whiskey, and he's passed out, and something is wrong. I know something is wrong. You know your partner. Something is wrong. So now that we have a mayor that's crumbling, what do you think is going to happen, John?
Well, I mean,
once Vaughn gets this news,
so again,
his mind is drenched with liquor. Is
so
he even going to be able to make a rational decision?
What's Harry Meadows is the local reporter. I think that Meadows and Brody both have their finger on the pulse of this town, and they're rightfully concerned that the town is literally going to fold. That it might not. There might not be a town, and even if it's not that bad, then they're going to have so many people on welfare on the dole. You know, it's again, you're talking about a small town, and I think that's what makes this story so good. You can understand a small town with an economy that's completely based on their summers, where the New York people come for the summer and they make their money to get them through the winter. You could see how that could actually collapse economically because of this issue, this one thing where, you know, the shark comes into the waters of Amity, and it's like it could literally, the shark could pull the whole town of Amity down.
So what's the objection with Quint?
I think that Hooper doesn't like or want to use Quint because he doesn't know much about Quint, but I think Quint is like a local fisherman. Again, fisherman is a kind of a broad term. I don't think he's really a fisherman, but so he's a captain, a boater, and so he probably, you know, rents his boat out for charter for guys that want to go fishing.
He's having a party.
He takes them, yeah. And so I think that Hooper represents the elites. Hooper represents, you know, the Harvard boys and the, you know, the well-educated university who looks down upon the working class man. So I think that Hooper represents the rich, and then Quint sort of represents the lower classes. That, you know, again, he's an honest man, and he makes his living honestly. But you know, I think that that's kind of the dichotomy that's been drawn by Benchley. That
he's not. He might look down on them, but he's not stupid. He's like, I get $200 a day, but this is a premium. It's going to be $400, and Brody pushes back a little bit because he doesn't know if he's going to get the selectmen to.
You're breaking my heart. He said,
and he's like, "Yeah, you're breaking my heart. Go send one of your other guys out." You know what happened to him, Ben Gardner, when he went out there to go chum. He's got them between a rock and a hard place. He wants his money cash up front in advance in case you fall overboard.
Here's the thing, too.
He ain't falling overboard with my money.
Here's the thing. You know, everybody from the police chief to the mayor to the selectmen to the whole police chief's force, they have no answers for what to do and how to catch this shark. And the only person they think could have the answer to this shark is this grizzled old, you know, war veteran, charter fishing boat guy, Quint.
Okay, let me read the rest of my notes here. So they're going to go out Monday morning at 6 a.m. They're going to he didn't want to. Brody was like, he can't even believe he heard the words come out of his mouth because Quint doesn't have a mate. So Brody's like, well, I'll be there. And he's like, saying, what the fuck am I saying?
I still need him, but he also said, I still need a mate. You don't know
still
what you're
need
doing.
a mate. So he's gotten out, asked this guy
You don't know how to fish. You're not a
to
boat
be in
person.
the middle of this that makes him feel the way that he makes him feel. Like he knows a little bit more than him. He's younger than him. He's going to be below him in this. It's going to be Quint, Hooper, and then we got Brody.
That pecking order
Yeah.
is really artificially created by Brody. Brody's always psychologizing himself in Hooper.
But he wants to know. He figures, I got him on the boat. I could still keep, pecking at him about where he was that Wednesday. Where he was Wednesday. That you want to take my kids on the beach with my wife and go look for seashells. Yeah, that would have been the end of it. So, I again was looking for the mayor, and Mrs. Vaughn calls. She's worried about the mayor. So we got a drunk mayor, and he just doesn't listen. Every now and again puts a load on. Don't worry about it. He'll be all right.
No, that's because Brody wasn't going to be the person to tell.
Of course, but we
wife.
heard that. We heard that in the story. So I guess maybe he's trying just to ease Eleanor. She sounds like a very nice woman.
He definitely. My impression is Brody
He's going up and down on the chair.
Likes Eleanor, and he doesn't particularly want to inform her of the huge trouble her husband is in financially now.
Right.
Especially since
with Tino.
She's the reason.
Russo.
She's the reason. He
Yes.
borrowed that money for her. She was sick.
She was sick. My husband's in an astronaut chair. Maybe one day he'll show you. He reclines all the way back. It decompresses his body and his bones. So I'm going to leave off the way that Benchley leaves off, right? We got all this going on. We know that, the threat is real now. The shark is still there. John and I watched a documentary on the 1916 attack. I'm going to that's what the book is based on. I'm actually going to put that in the description. We watched what really happened with this shark and the attacks that he made. And if you want to see a little bit more about what the book was based on. And I might have put something else in the Jaws section. There was a lot of tension on the set. I've been talking to a lot of my members about why people were cast, who they were. And there was a lot of tension, I think, between
Robert Shaw,
Quint,
and Richard Dreyfuss, who played Hooper, because
yeah.
Robert Shaw was a classically trained actor and actor of the stage in England.
Yes,
and he really didn't care for Richard Dreyfuss, who he thought.
Well, Richard Dreyfuss did a lot of.
He just came out at the time. He didn't have that much.
Let me tell you, Richard Dreyfuss came from the stage. We just watched The Goodbye Girl. Anyway, Benchley does to us what he always does. We're back at the diner with Paul and his wife, and they're overjoyed. At the deli. They sold 18 pounds of bologna. They sold all this Swiss cheese and roast beef. I'm like, what the hell's going on? What the hell's going on is that people are coming from all over, like the goofballs from Queens, looking at the shark. They're coming in all the way from Pennsylvania to see the shark.
Right, but they're not coming to buy or rent real estate. They're not coming to go on
the townspeople are making some moolah. So,
a little bit,
Bentley now has got me thinking that they're going out to go look for the shark. No, don't look for the shark. It's making us some money. We're selling tickets. This book is more about this shark. And I'm starting to think that maybe if Quint said, I want $400 a day to get this shark, if that gets out, I think you might even have townspeople saying, well, we're desperate for money. We'll go out and bounty hunt this shark. I don't know. John's saying no.
Quint would never accept any person to come on his
That's not
boat
what I'm saying,
and
John.
catch the shark.
We got desperate people here. They're making some money. Somebody's selling tickets, but they ran him off.
All.
They're making money on the shark. They might not be
Here you
making
go.
money on the summer people coming in and buying a slice of pizza here and there. They're making money because people are coming from all over to see this great white monster. Here he comes. I knew he couldn't stay off camera.
I think she's mischaracterizing this, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. I think if anything, if the townspeople were to hear that their selectmen and their mayor were paying a guy like Quint $400 a day to go out looking for the shark to try and kill it, that may produce envy. They may be jealous and say, why are you paying this guy $400 when we ain't got enough money? We're not even going to make it through the next winter. We're going to be on welfare and everything else. And so that's the sort of emotion I think would basically characterize the townspeople. But Elisa has an opinion, and she's going to tell you all about
it. I just did. But that's the yin yang of our relationship. He's looking at it one way. That's what I said. The townspeople are going to be like, don't kill the shark. Now we want the shark. The shark's making us money because there's more to this book than there ever was to the movie, and it always comes down to money, right? What's the tagline? Follow the money.
No, the tagline is money talks and bullshit walks.
Money talk. Well, there's so many taglines on money. Said. You know, so many taglines with money. Now they want to be friends with the shark. But Benchley always leaves us with this, you know, like this new twist, this new turn. Let me ask you something. Who do you feel most sorry for of all the characters that we've met? Who do you feel most sorry for in this book? Because I got to tell you something. I know the shark is killing people, okay? But I will never get out of my head Siegfried and Roy. And I remember watching Eddie Murphy's special, and they were like, oh my God, what happened to the tiger? They trained him. He's like, the tiger went tiger. The tiger got tired of freaking riding a bicycle with a helmet on its head, and he did what its natural instinct was to attack. So there's a part of me that does...
I don't really find anybody in this story
sympathize with this shark, because the shark, number one, is like lost. Why is he in Amity? Why is he in water that he shouldn't be in? They said it in this chapter. White sharks tend to go towards colder water. The shark is just trying to survive. I mean, he doesn't know that he's eating people. He just knows that he's eating something. I don't know. I think I sympathize with Brody.
Yeah, I guess Brody's a sympathetic character.
I mean, I don't think that Brody has done anything wrong.
I'm sorry. Brody is a sympathetic character, and because Brody is a good, honest man, earning his living in an honest way, even though his wife probably married below her station and now is having buyer's remorse about her husband and her 3 kids. You know, 3 kids later,
I have no sympathy for her.
I'm saying. But so Brody, he's also at the mercy of this vicious animal that he feels responsible for public safety. And, again...
And I do feel sorry for the townspeople that look for this, time of the year to make money. You know, they can't even hire help. He had to choose between 2 people in the deli of who he was going to hire. He couldn't hire, he would normally hire 2 of the young boys to help, because it gets, crazy during the summer. You get a lot of tourists. And even here, and I'm sure where you live too, I'm sure you have tourist sections that you go to. I said to John, I don't even recognize the places that we grew up in anymore, because the tourists are just out of control. In the certain sections, like I took you guys down 9th Street. That was an off day. That was a day that 9th Street is closed, but that's our Italian market. That was something, that was when the immigrants immigrated here from Italy, they created their own section here in Philadelphia. That's the Italian market, and that's crazy. And it leads from one thing into another. It leads right into the cheesesteaks. Like everything is like cheesesteaks today. Like we grew up on cheesesteaks. I never had a cheesesteak until I was 21 years old, and I never had another one again. Now, all of a sudden, at this age, I'm craving a cheesesteak. I had one last night with my son. She's like, what kind of cheese do you want? I said, what do you got? She goes, well, we got Whiz, which is what a Philly cheesesteak is. A Philly cheesesteak is what Whiz, Cheese Whiz. You want Whiz, you want American, you want Cooper Sharp, and my son goes, Cooper Sharp. I'm like, yeah, Cooper Sharp got a publicist. Everything is Cooper Sharp today, and everything is a cheesesteak. So, yeah, there's a lot of tourist sections here in Philly, you know. Declaration of Independence, City of Brotherly Love. I don't know, I'm going to have to change that one, but, so, you know, Amity is a small town, and they're, you know, 3 months of summer, and they're looking to make some money, and now they're looking to make it any way that they can. And I'm thinking that they're, you know, not going to want anybody going out and bounty hunting this shark, or being desperate enough to be like, well, I want that 400, you can pay it to me, and I'll bounty hunt the shark. And that's what I'm closing with, because he's upside down. He's ready to rocket man, go out off into space. And Josh is here. And we go into book 3, chapter 11.
You missed it, babe.
We only have 14 chapters, and I can't believe that Quint is actually coming in at like really the end of chapter 10.
Well, only because you're comparing it to the film. The film, Quint was a very important character, and you know.
I don't know. I mean, you know, every summer is Shark Week. What is it, the Discovery Channel? Is it the Discovery Channel, Josh? Shark Week? Which Shark Week?
Geo, probably.
Josh said Discovery. And, you know, I've seen Jaws playing. I'm like, don't put it on. But I don't even know that I can even watch it now, knowing that I know the book. But it'll be fun. Anyway. See you, as always, in the next one. Part 3, chapter 11.
You missed it.
John did a very good job on Quint. I was hysterical laughing over here in the corner.
Foofy was sitting next to Josh.
We'll do a Foofy point of view on chapter 10.
You missed it. Foofy was sitting next to Josh while you were talking, and he was going like this, and he was tickling his head, and Foofy was loving it.
Oh, were you loving it, Foofy?
Yeah.
The whole day is revolved around you today, because we went out last night. John had the Live Aid, and I sat with the selfie stick and streamed it live on Facebook on Elisa Marie Designs. I don't know if it's still there, with my foot up and my son. Anyway, we'll see you. Oh, I just finished the tutorial on the square drill kit from Diamond Art Emporium. So look for that. I don't know what's going to happen first, either chapter 10, part 2, or the square drill. Practice your square drills. Okay, I'm out. Gonna go get some Chick-fil-A. Bye.